All right, ready to dive deep. Today, we're tackling how those high achievers, the ones who seem to just crush it, really set themselves up for success.
It's a fascinating topic.
It is. We're going to be digging into Jeff Hayden's The Motivation Myth.
Oh, I love that book.
Yeah, it's packed with insights. Plus, we'll be weaving in interviews with some real-world high achievers.
Awesome.
And of course, we've got some scientific studies sprinkled in there, just to back it all up.
Always good to have the research.
Exactly. So get ready, because we're going to bust some myths about motivation and uncover what really fuels that lasting success.
And happiness. Don't forget the happiness piece.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about the whole package, especially if you're someone who gets super pumped about a goal.
Yeah.
But then that motivation kind of fizzles out before you reach the finish line.
Happens to the best of us. We're going to help you with that.
Definitely. So let's jump right in with this whole motivation myth thing.
Okay, let's do it.
Jeff Hayden really digs into this idea. So many people, and I've been guilty of this too, think motivation is like this magic spark.
Right, like it just hits you.
Yeah, exactly. Like you wait for this surge of inspiration to hit you.
And then you're off to the races.
Right. But Hayden flips that whole idea on its head.
He does. And it's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
Okay, so spill the beans. What's the real deal with motivation?
Well, the big reveal is that motivation actually comes after success, not before.
Wait, so you're telling me motivation isn't what gets us started?
It's more like the fire that keeps burning, once you've got it going.
Okay. I think I'm starting to see where you're going with this. But if motivation isn't the initial spark, what is?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is. How do we get that ball rolling if motivation isn't the driving force?
Well, think about it like this. You ever hit the gym, even when you really didn't feel like it?
Oh, all the time,
Yeah.
especially in the winter.
Right. But then, once you get moving, those endorphins kick in.
You start feeling good.
Exactly. Motivation works in a similar way.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So how does this whole endorphin thing tie into motivation?
Well, it's all about those small wins. Those little victories trigger dopamine hits.
Dopamine, the feel-good chemical, right?
Exactly. And that's what keeps us going. It's like a positive feedback loop.
Interesting. So it's not about waiting for motivation to strike. It's about taking action and letting those small wins fuel our motivation.
You got it. The book really emphasizes shifting your focus from the big, overwhelming goal to the process.
This process.
Yeah, those daily actions, those smaller steps that move you forward.
Oh, okay. So instead of obsessing over, let's say, running a marathon, it's about focusing on each individual training run.
Precisely. It's about showing up consistently, putting in the work, and celebrating those small victories along the way.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about breaking things down into manageable chunks, so it's less intimidating.
Exactly. And it's not just about running marathons. This applies to any goal, any dream you're chasing.
Right, so it's about shifting our mindset.
It is. Instead of getting overwhelmed by the enormity of our goals, we break them down into smaller steps.
And focus on the daily actions.
You got it. It's like that famous saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Love that quote. So we've got to stop waiting for motivation to hit us like a bolt of lightning.
And start taking those small, consistent steps. That's what builds momentum and keeps the fire of motivation burning.
It's like instead of waiting for the wind to fill our sails, we need to start rowing.
Absolutely. It's about taking ownership of our goals and realizing that motivation is something we cultivate, not something we wait for.
I love that. So we ditch the myth of motivation as the starting point.
And embrace the power of action, those small wins, and consistent effort.
And that, my friends, is how we set the stage for lasting success and happiness.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Now, speaking of happiness, there's this fascinating story in the book about Hayden's grandfather and a racehorse.
Oh yeah, the one who skipped all the steps.
Exactly. He wanted to win a race, but missed out on all the joy of the process.
It's a powerful reminder that happiness often lies in the journey, not just the destination.
So true. All right, let's dig into that story after a quick break.
Sounds good. I can't wait to unpack that one. It's full of insights.
Okay, so we're back and ready to unpack that racehorse story.
All right, so picture this. Hayden's grandfather buys this racehorse.
Sounds like the start of a good joke.
Right. But here's the thing. He totally bypasses all the training and prep work.
He just jumps right into the race.
Yep. Goes straight to entering the horse in a big competition.
Bold move. Did the horse at least win?
Actually, it came in second place.
Wow, second place with no training. That's pretty impressive.
It is. But here's the catch. Hayden's grandfather, despite the horse's success, didn't really feel any sense of accomplishment.
Why not? I mean, second place is nothing to sneeze at.
True. But he'd completely missed out on the whole journey. The daily grind, the gradual improvements, the bond you build with the horse through the training process.
Ah, I see. It's like he skipped to the last page of the book.
Exactly. And that's the point Hayden drives home. True fulfillment often comes from the process, not just the end result.
It's like that saying, enjoy the journey, not just the destination.
Exactly. It's about savoring those small victories, the daily progress, the challenges overcome. That's where the real satisfaction lies.
So it's not just about achieving the goal, it's about how we get there.
Precisely. And this ties into another fascinating concept from the book, working your number.
Working your number? Okay, now you've got me curious. What's that all about?
Well, it's about breaking down a daunting task into smaller, more manageable chunks.
Okay, I'm liking this already. Break it down, make it bite-sized.
Exactly. Hayden uses this example of challenging himself to do 100,001 push-ups.
Wait, what? 100,001 push-ups? That's insane.
It sounds crazy, right? But here's the key. He broke it down into daily sets, manageable chunks that he could consistently achieve.
Oh, okay. So it's about consistency, not just brute force.
Exactly. And get this, he actually admitted that he doesn't even like push-ups.
Really? So he achieved this massive goal doing something he didn't even enjoy.
Yep. By focusing on the process, by working his number, he made it happen.
That's pretty inspiring. So even if a goal involves doing something you hate, you can still achieve it by breaking it down and focusing on those daily actions.
You got it. It's about shifting your mindset from I can't to I can, one step at a time. And this brings us to another powerful idea from the book.
Okay, lay it on me. What's the next game changer?
It's the power of I don't versus I can't. Research actually shows that saying I don't is way more effective when resisting temptation.
So instead of saying I can't skip my workout, it's better to say I don't miss workouts.
Exactly. I can't implies a choice, a possibility of giving in. But when you say I don't, it becomes part of your identity. It's non-negotiable.
It's like you're drawing a line in the sand. This is who I am, and this is what I do.
I love that. And I bet it builds confidence too, right? Absolutely. Confidence isn't something we're born with. It comes from repeated successes, from mastering our craft.
Like Jamie Little, the motorsports reporter, said, confidence comes from over-preparing and constantly refining your skills.
Spot on. And it's interesting because we often think of high achievers as laser-focused on their one big goal. But Hayden actually argues that too much focus can be a bad thing.
Wait, hold on. Too much focus on your goal can backfire. How's that possible?
It's about finding the right balance. Yes, having a clear vision is crucial, but you also need to shift your attention to the process.
The daily actions, the steps that actually move you toward that vision.
Precisely. It's not about ignoring the big picture, it's about breaking it down into manageable chunks. And here's another twist. It's not always about being the best at something.
Okay, now you've really lost me. What do you mean it's not about being the best? Isn't that the whole point of striving for success?
Sometimes it's more about being the best at being something.
I'm still not following. Can you give me an example?
Hayden uses this example of being the best at being helpful. Instead of aiming to be the star performer, you focus on being the most reliable, the most supportive member of the team.
So maybe you're not the top salesperson, but you're the one everyone goes to for advice, for a helping hand.
Exactly. You become indispensable in a different way, and that leads to its own kind of success.
I love that. It's about finding your unique way to add value, to make a difference. And speaking of adding value, let's talk about this 1% advantage concept.
Ah, yes, the power of tiny improvements consistently applied.
It's like those small tweaks to your routine that, over time, create massive results.
It's a concept that's gaining a lot of traction. And for good reason. It's all about those seemingly insignificant actions that compound over time.
Hayden shares some great examples in the book, like Dave Kirpin, a successful CEO who handwrites 3 thank you notes every day.
Such a simple act, but think about the impact. It strengthens relationships, makes people feel appreciated.
It's a 1% improvement that creates a ripple effect. And then there's Art Papas, the founder of a software company. He makes it a point to pick up trash around the office.
Now, you might think that's a menial task for a CEO.
Yeah, you think he'd have people for that.
But it sends a powerful message about leadership, about taking ownership and creating a positive environment.
And it's contagious. Hayden says that behavior became part of their company culture.
Amazing. Right. Small actions, big impact.
So we've covered all these great strategies for achieving success, but let's not forget about the happiness piece of the puzzle. Can you really be successful AD happy?
Absolutely. In fact, I'd argue they often go hand in hand. But it's about redefining our understanding of success. It's not just about reaching that end goal. It's about enjoying the journey, the process of growth and accomplishment.
It's like those athletes who are so focused on winning that they forget to savor the thrill of the competition itself. Or those entrepreneurs who work themselves to the bone, building a business, but neglect their health and relationships in the process.
Exactly. True happiness comes from finding balance in all areas of your life. And that ties into the idea from the motivation myth that we should only pursue goals that benefit us on multiple levels.
So it's not enough for a goal to be just professionally or financially rewarding. Ideally, it should also contribute to our health, relationships, or personal growth.
Right. For example, if you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed, maybe your next goal should be something that helps you unwind and recharge.
Like learning a new hobby or taking a yoga class.
Exactly. It's about making sure your goals align with your overall well-being. And that leads us to another crucial point. Sometimes, to achieve true success and happiness, you need to be willing to say no.
To say no to certain things in order to say yes to what truly matters.
Precisely. So many of us get caught up in saying yes to every opportunity that comes our way.
Even if it's not really aligned with our goals or values.
Right. And we end up spreading ourselves too thin, feeling burned out and unfulfilled.
So learning to say no can actually be incredibly empowering.
It is. It frees up your time and energy to focus on the things that truly matter. And speaking of focusing on what matters, Hayden talks about the importance of regularly evaluating our goals and making adjustments as needed.
Yeah, it's so easy to just get stuck on autopilot, chasing those goals that maybe don't even really serve us anymore.
Yeah, totally. And it's kind of wild how often we cling to these goals that aren't even relevant or inspiring anymore.
Right.
Like we're just stuck in this rut, following this path that maybe felt exciting once upon a time, but now it's just kind of like, oh.
Yeah, it's like staying in a job that's just sucking the life out of you. Or like holding onto a relationship that's clearly run its course.
Yeah, just because we're terrified of change or failing.
Right, but sometimes letting go, that's like the bravest, most freeing thing you can do.
It's true. It opens up all these new possibilities,
Exactly. It gives you the space to kind of realign with what you actually want now.
And that kind of connects back to that idea of working your plan from the book, even when you're not feeling all rah-rah motivated. Oh, yeah, that discipline to stick to your process.
Yeah, even when you're exhausted or doubting yourself.
It's about showing up, putting in the work, even when it feels like pulling teeth.
Yeah, those small, consistent actions, those are the things that add up. They're the foundation.
Right. It's like that story Hayden tells about how he learned to captivate a huge audience.
Yeah.
He bombed his first big speaking gig.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but he just kept practicing, kept refining his skills, and he turned into this sought-after speaker.
He didn't let that initial setback, define him.
Nope, he used it as fuel.
And I think that's a big takeaway from this whole deep dive. It's not about being perfect. It's about embracing that messy journey of growth and learning from those screw-ups.
Totally. It's about being willing to try things out, step outside that comfort zone, and trust that you'll figure it out.
And sometimes figuring it out means getting some guidance from people who've already been there, done that.
Right.
Which brings us back to finding your pro.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking earlier about downloading their expertise.
Yeah. Right, like a brain download.
Exactly. And we might not all have a personal mentor on speed dial.
Yeah.
But we could learn from the best by studying their stories.
Yeah, their habits, their strategies.
Exactly. And one thing that really struck me from those interviews with high achievers is they all seem to share this insatiable curiosity.
They're always asking questions, wanting to learn more, pushing themselves.
Yeah, it's like Einstein said, the important thing is to not stop questioning.
Right. Curiosity is a powerful force.
It is. And I think that's a key ingredient in staying motivated and achieving lasting success. That drive to explore, to experiment.
Never stop learning.
So it's not about finding that one perfect plan and clinging to it for dear life.
It's about being flexible, embracing the curveballs, and refining your approach as you go.
And remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about making progress.
Those small steps, guided by a solid process, those are the things that lead to amazing results.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the motivation myth and how high achievers really operate, I want to leave you with this. What's one thing you can do differently today based on everything we've talked about to inch closer to that big goal of yours? It doesn't have to be this massive overhaul. Maybe it's shifting your focus from the outcome to the process.
Yeah.
Breaking down that scary task into smaller steps.
Love it.
Or maybe it's finding your virtual pro, someone to learn from.
Yeah.
The key is to take action, even if it's a tiny step in the right direction.
Right.
Remember, that journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And the most important step you can take is the one you take right now.